you sold me my first TV on Nantucket.
Yep.
And that thing lasted me for, I mean, it was my studio channel, TV channel.
Oh, okay.
It ran 24/7. It lasted over 20 years.
I brought the first.
It was an RCA.
That's right. I brought the first color TV to the island. It was a CBS Columbia. It had 44 tubes in it. I think it was 500 watts.
Tell me about that. What was that like when you? Where did you put it, and what? How did people see it?
Well, we had a display room at the shop on York Street.
Okay.
And it was in there because you couldn't get very good reception. The best thing that I could look at and see with the snow was Wonder Bread. All those little dots come out and colorful. The set worked.
Oh, yeah.
The set worked very good. It came in 2 sections. It was big, had folding doors on it, and I've got pictures of that. It was a round picture tube, and it had 2 chassis in it, heavy chassis. One with the power supplies, and the other with the signal circuits. And the picture tube slid into the back. It shipped it separate. It was a good set. It was way ahead of RCA and the others.
Now, did you sell that, or did you keep it for yourself?
Well, it didn't sell because it was one of the first ones there. It was more of a novelty. Father kept it and used it for quite a few years.
Were you the only?
No, there was
another place here?
They had marine, I don't know if marine, they had marine lumber and marine appliance, but they combined them to be marine home center.
Yeah.
And the appliance place was where Hardy's had their store on South Water Street, was that building.
Oh, it was, yeah. And this used to be Al Silva's place down here, right?
That's
Let's just go down there and look at it, right? Did you know Al pretty well?
Oh yeah, I know. We bought cars from him.
You did? Yeah. He pretty much had that sewn up, didn't he? I mean, he was the only guy for a while, wasn't he?
Well, they were the Dodge dealer here.
This was his place right here, right?
That's right, but it's all different, all tore down and rebuilt.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is totally rebuilt, you know. So now, getting back to your electronics career, and is that pretty much what you did your whole life?
Yeah.
What you just bought? You sold TVs and fixed them?
Fixed them. Started out fixing them, and then started selling some, and it really got going when I picked up the Magnavox franchise. I tried to pick it up earlier, but I should have gone off island, but I was only about 21, 22 at the time, and wasn't that aggressive. But we did a few years later pick it up and used that until it started going down and got bought out by another company. And,
okay.
And then RCA franchise became available, so I picked that up.
Right.
And that was going great at that time, so,
yeah.
so that was pretty big. And then finally that went down when Thompson Consumer bought it. And that was about the time I retired.
That was. Now, what's your other passion? Aren't you into ham radio?
Yep.
You still are?
Yep.
Now, what's the big interest in that, George? I'm just curious.
Well, it's got about every facet in there you can think of. I guess the biggest one is they like to talk to people around and see who they can talk to. I think that is probably the number one.
The social aspect of it?
The social aspect of it. There are other aspects. There's a lot of engineers involved to get in, and they will design a radio or a computer program that will work and give you digital modes. We got one that's just come out now that we can send emails through the air.
Oh.
And it get put into the internet, and it can.
You don't even need an internet connection anymore?
Well, it can't be commercial.
Okay.
But
okay, but
no.
You can only get email because it can't supply the data.
It can't supply a great amount of data because it's fairly slow.
Right. I mean, can you reach anywhere in the world?
Theoretically.
Theoretically.
It depends upon propagation.
You mean the wind and...
No, the ionosphere, which is dependent upon the sunspot activity.
Oh.
And it changes from day to night. An example of sunspot activity in the ionization of the ionosphere is your northern lights. That's when it's extreme.
You mean you can go far when it's...
That will probably be too far and put you right off the air. You probably won't hear anything.
Oh, I see.
With that amount. But we have a whole bunch of bands that run from about 3.5 megacycles on up 800 or so, but there's places in between. So you can, you got a choice of what you use depending on propagation.
And what about space? Does it actually go out into space? Can some of these signals be...
Well, some of them actually, that's all some of them do is bounce signals off the moon and other stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's the angle that the signal goes up related to the propagation as to what angle will go through. If the angle is low enough, it will bounce back down. If it's too high, it will go out through.
I see.
And,
how do you know it's hitting the moon, though?
Well, you wait for the signal to come back.
And you can just figure that it's gone. It has to bounce off of something.
I have never done it, but okay. I know it does take a few seconds for it to come back. So they just send out a pulse or a few words or something. I don't know what they do. I've never done it, and it will come back, and they'll know they got it.
Wow, that is so cool. What do you think about you know, the universe, and you think there's other forms of... I mean, I've always thought that ham radio people were like the perfect people that could reach out and probably contact other worlds if there were any out there.
Well, that's something that's being done from the scientists are doing.
Yeah.
They have listening stations out there. There's got to be something out there.
There has to be.
There's millions and millions of planets out there. One of them
and
got
stars too.
Yeah.
Billions of stars.
Yeah. Well, each
like
star has got many, many planets under it.
Tell me some more about the old days and your family, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, when I was young, my father had a plane. He was a pilot, along with his brother, Dave Robb, Parker Gray, and a bunch of others. Gene Adams Cook used to have his plane, and so I grew up in the plane business. In the Second World War, he went in as an instructor for a while, and then he flew with the CAP out of Falmouth. And after that, they came here and started up a charter aircraft business, and they had about 4 airplanes at the peak. But they were hurt by Northeast Airlines. Not because of Northeast Airlines, but because of the subsidies the government gave Northeast Airlines, and you couldn't compete with somebody having a subsidy.
I see.
The entrance to the airport in those early days, right after the war, before the war, when you had to go down Nobody Farm Road, Old South Road was a dirt road.
It was a dirt road?
It was a dirt road, and so they built a building about 30 by 60 feet. Grandfather's going to have half of it as a little restaurant, and the other half as the room for the office for the Nobody Air Service. And as things progressed and accidents came up, that some of the planes, one plane, they never had any casualties, nobody ever got scratched, but there were several serious accidents. And that, of course, took a lot of money.
Right.
Took a lot of money out of the business to, not only did you lose the plane, the money you had to repair the plane with, but you lost the plane for the use, and usually it was in the summer. Another thing that really hampered them was fog. There was no electronic landing system. No lights on the runways, no nothing.
Oh, jeez.
It was just a field with 2 runways on it. Lester Bachman came, was the first one that came, and by coincidence, he happened to be sitting in one of the Quonset huts out where that parking lot at the airport now is. There was housing for the Navy fellas, which was maybe 8 or 10 Quonset huts.
Right, right.
So he took one of them, and I think he set up a ham radio. I don't know what he had, and he was tinkering around with it one day. And the weather down around here in the summer would be in and out, and what we call in and out. The fog would come in and go out. And if you could see from the farmhouse, the Nobody farmhouse, you could see the beach. Houses on the beach, they considered it a flyable weather. And this particular day, the sheriff comes out. He says he wants to go to New Bedford, pick up some legal papers for court, and have the pilot wait for him and bring him back. So they flew out, went to New Bedford, waited for him, and he came back. They were using an Avion, a single-engine plane. Looks something like a P-51, made by North American.
Yep.
And heavy, well built. He called his wife back at the farmhouse and said she could see the building. Okay, he said he's coming through. You don't know what's going to happen in the half hour or so it took to get here. Went over the vineyard and everything was clear. Got to Nantucket. All he saw was Great Point Lighthouse. So he said, let's head back to the vineyard and we'll wait, and I'll give her a call and see when it's open and we'll come back. He got about up there in the center and the engine quit in the pea soup fog. In the pea soup fog, and so what he did was to, as I head towards the vineyard, and they glided and glided. I think he put out a mayday, and just per chance, Lester Bachman happened to be sitting at the radio. And that was the first emergency call that came into the, what was it, CAA at that time.
Oh my gosh.
And that's all written up in the papers. I should look it up sometime if I can find it. You can't get through here.
I can't?
No.
Oh boy, see? How come they don't do that?
Because the town doesn't own the road.
It's private. Is that what?
That's another story.
Do you own it?
No.
Would you like it to go through? Or no?
Well, I don't know.
I'm going to turn around down here.
I don't know.
So this is the other...
So
keep going.
Anyways, they were gliding, and they were getting down to something like 200 feet. And they're still in the pea soup fog. And so he asked the sheriff to look out the window and look straight down. And he looks down and he says, I see a beach. So he, where? So he put the landing gear down, spun it around, and put it in with a field, fairly good field. The grass had not been mowed in it. He cut down and he hit on the end where he wanted to and put the brakes on. They slid the full length of the field, went over a stone wall, and wedged it between 2 trees. Lights up a cigar and gets out. I said, they had some fairly bad accidents, but nobody ever got a scratch.
Unreal. That was just fortunate.
One fella got a hole in his pants because the battery it was under the seat, and it flipped upside down. It dripped on him. It was him, his wife, flying up. I was going to go on that flight, but I had intentions of making up a frap in that little restaurant they had, and I didn't think the fellow would be there that soon, so I told him I'd go with him, and I said, how long? He said, 15 minutes. Got to come in town. So I made up the frap and just got that nice frap sitting on the, I mean, this is a little 14-year-old fat kid sitting in that frap. Looked better than going over to Falmouth, which is only a 10-minute ride, and So I drinking the frap and just about got that done. The phone rings and the plane's upside down on the other side.
Oh my gosh.
And that was pilot error.
Right, right.
Yeah, it was pilot error.
Now, are you a pilot?
No.
You never were, no. So now, you got kids?
3.
Where are they?
One's up in Princeton, Maine. One's down in Colorado Springs. And the other one is out in Western Mass.
No, none of them stay on Nantucket.
Nope. They can't make it here.
Why's that?
Too costly to live.
Yeah. Your one daughter I met, she's married to Nick?
Nate.
Nate Catino.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
He's doing fine.
Does he still have that island?
Yeah.
He never sold it?
Nope.
I know he tried to sell pieces of it, right?
I think he sold one piece.
Oh, he did?
I think he sold one piece.
And he kept the other. White's Island, I remember being on there. There's a Nantucket school bus on that island, you know.
Yeah, I know.
You like it up there?
Yeah, it's nice up there. You could go a long distance to do anything, but...
What do you do with yourself out when you're not doing the ham radio and puttering around the house? What else do you like to do?
Well, I'm in the band, so I get time to practice in the jazz band, the
Very
NCMC band.
What do you play?
Tenor sax.
Nice.
We're going to have a dance, I think it's the 1st of June, and I think it's at the Yacht Club. We've had them there before.
Now, how long you been a sax player?
After I got out of high school.
And are you a music? Do you like jazz, or is it what do you listen to?
What I like is big band era music.
Yeah.
That big band era stuff. It only lasted 2 or 3 years, but they sure did a lot of...
You mean like Glenn Miller,
Yeah.
Duke Ellington,
Yeah,
Tommy Dorsey,
yeah.
all those dudes, huh? And do you listen to a lot of music still?
I have music going in the background. I don't go out and buy it.
No, you probably got Sirius satellite radio.
No, I don't. I did have, but I don't. I don't have that.
How about Pandora?
No,
You know what that is?
no.
They call it the Music Genome Project. You have the internet, right?
Yeah,
Go to Pandora.
Yeah.
It's free, and put Pandora.com in there, and then download it. And then you put in, let's say you put in Duke Ellington, it'll play music all the time out of your computer that follows that genre.
No,
So it'll play big band music.
sounds good.
It's very cool. Doesn't cost anything.
No, I'd like to do that.
What do you think of the internet?
Oh, it's a great learning tool. It's a great thing.
Geez, I passed your road, didn't I?
It can be great or it can be terrible. Some of these things you can get on. There's a lot of things that people are getting into big trouble with it too, as is any other thing.
Well, like what?
Texting has become...
Texting and driving, you mean?
Well, some of the stuff they text and it gets picked up and put on the internet.
Oh, that's right, tweeting. Those
Just tweeting?
tweets will get you in trouble. I don't tweet yet, but I think I might. What do you think about tweeting? You know what it is, right?
I think that some of those things is they're going to find out too much about you.
Okay, and what do you think happens then?
Well, you'll have salesmen. Well, you go you order something on the internet, and that information goes to everybody. If you order, I don't know, a can of soup or something, and they find out that you like soup, you're going to have all kind of people trying to sell you soup. They take your telephone numbers and internet addresses and sell them. They make more money doing that, and the next thing you know, you're getting all the junk mail.
Well, that's true too. But you wouldn't give up the internet because of that, though, would you?
No.
Don't you think it's incredible, though? I mean, you know what I like about it? I like the fact that it's pretty much a Wild West show.
We had the first, ham radio had the first internet. We could send, it was called Packet.
Wow.
And we could send the signal out, and it would relay itself just about any place in the world.
Jeez. Now, you said your wife does all this work around here?
Yeah, she's not doing as much as she was, but
wow.
She sees that it gets done.
She sure does. She's really nicely kept. Does she work, or is she retired as well?
No, she's retired.
What did she do?
She, until we had some kids, she was a nurse. And then she was a stay-at-home mom.
Nice, nice. All right, George. Well, what else you got going today? You got any plans?
I'll go work on some ham radios, get them programmed up. See, these ham radios, you can, in the ham bands, you can set the frequencies you operate on and put them in memory.
Oh, I see that.
You can't do that with like your Citizen Band radio. You had 22 channels or something like that you could choose from. Police and fire.
Oh, right. Whatever happened to the CB radios?
I guess it's still around.
It is, huh?
I think it's still around.
Just truckers use it, I
probably,
guess. Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, you don't hear much about them anymore. Well, I want to thank you so much.
Okay.
And, maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Okay.